Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Bredin. I am the founder of Bredin Digital, and what I focus in is social media consulting, and I also work in social video content. So I really try to help people. My main goal in social media is helping people in our region compete against the big companies, because the majority of the companies in our region are small businesses, and yet they could do so much better than they're doing now because of the competition being like Amazon and Walmart and stuff like that. So my goal is to get small businesses on the same platforms that the bigger businesses are on, so that you have a fighting chance. Today we are talking about Digital Main Street, the Digital Transformation Grant 3.0, and the different Service Squad opportunities we have available. If we could go to the next slide. There we go. So first question, what is Digital Main Street? Digital Main Street is a program and service that helps small and medium-sized businesses transform their digital presence. So as we all know, the world was getting more digital year by year, but COVID really accelerated that. So we're in a situation where people were going online, and then suddenly everyone was shopping online anyways. Everyone, there's no options. So Digital Main Street is really great in helping these small and medium-sized businesses really get the information that they need so that they can really blossom digitally. It is a combination of structured online training programs and personalized assistance through the Digital Service Squad. Digital Service Squad is me. So if you have any questions, or if you're contacting us at any time through the program, you'll be talking to me. So I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing. Most people say it's a good thing. We'll see. There are three main things that I can help with the Digital Main Street program. The first one is I can direct you to the e-commerce development program, otherwise known as Shop Here. Shop Here is a fantastic program for people who have no website at all. And what it does is it takes people who are really interested in learning more, not just learning more, in creating an online shop, and it sets people up on Shopify. And as we all know, Shopify is a massive Canadian business. They've set up so many online stores. They're huge now, but they know how to run a online shop. So if you're going to have anyone teaching you how to do a Shopify site, you want someone who is Shopify trained. This is a really great program for those who are looking to just really enhance their e-commerce and really get out there. The second thing, and this is the one that runs the longest with me, is the one-on-one consultation services through the Digital Service Squad. So if you say you have a lot of questions, you love the idea of going digital, but you just too many questions, it's a little intimidating, you're not sure where to start, reach out to us and I will be more than happy to arrange a time where we can chat and you can just ask all the questions you have. I'll go more into the detail on what we can do through the Digital Service Squad, but it's a really great program. I like to think I'm really accessible with these types of things. I can email, I can do phone, Zoom, lots of opportunities. But I'm sure the one that most people are interested in, the really big one, is the Digital Transformation Grant. So the qualifying businesses can apply for a $2,500 grant. And this is the really big one. It has a deadline of the end of this month. So if you are interested in learning more about this, this is the one I am focusing on the most. This is where the majority of my time as a Digital Service Squad person is going, because I want to make sure that as many of you as possible get your money, so that the rest of the few months is just me turning around and saying, okay, how do we spend this? How do we get you where you need to go? So let's start with The Digital Service Squad. Can we look at the next slide, please? Digital Service Squad. So, and one more. Thank you. So, some of the services that you have available to you are, these are literally, I just took these right out of the booklet of just things that we do. So one of the things I can do is teach you about the latest in digital tools and technology and how they can help you meet your business goals. We can identify priorities within your business and its digital presence. We can do education in various digital tools and social media platforms that are free and easy to use. And I can provide assistance in finding additional resources regarding topics of interest for the business, such as articles, links, guides, and videos. Now, that is a lot of vague words. So if we go to the next slide, we can see what I mean. So let's say you want to learn more about how you can use a specific tool. You can get one-on-one training on a specific tool or platform that will benefit your business directly. The one that I focus on the most with people is Facebook Business Suite, because Facebook is the most prevalent in our area. It is easily the most used compared to other platforms. So that is where people should be. The thing is that using Facebook as a page is so much different than using it as your personal account, and getting to know the platform for Business Suite does have a learning curve. And luckily I've already done the curve. I know the difference between the two, and I can help you learn how to schedule your posts, how to read your comments and reply to them properly, how to use the chat bot, lots of things like that. The next one is your business may be assessed to identify where your business needs to focus digitally. So I'm not going to come on here or like chat with you and say you need to be on TikTok if you have no business being on TikTok. I know that social media is hard. I have one TikTok video, and it's nothing to do with work. It has my dog, because TikTok is not relevant to my business in terms of advertising. But if you were targeting that audience, then we would talk about it. But what we would do is we would talk about your specific business, your target audience, and see where they are, so that you don't have to waste your time on platforms that may not be worth it. Because that's really the end of the day. The time you have is precious, and we want to use it the best we can. The next one is we want to make sure that the tools you're using are both effective and cost effective. So what I can do is I can make sure that you're keeping your online marketing as affordable as possible. I can't always promise that I will find a free tool that will do exactly what you want. However, I know a lot of the tools out there. I try to keep up to date on all the new ones coming out. I have a pretty good idea of where most businesses need to be. Luckily, I can't, for most of these things, I can find either a free version or something, and we can keep this as cost effective as possible. As we said, there is a grant, it's $2,500. The last thing we want to do is spend $2,500 on just subscriptions when you could be using it for advertising. The last one is, if you ask a question that I don't know the answer to, I'll find the answer. So I'm not going to just say, oh, I don't know, and then say that's that. I will look it up. I will get you the resources that you need so that you have an answer quick. One of the big things there is I may know how to Google like the keyword that you're looking, that you may not know, and find the information a lot faster than you'll need to. So, even if it's something that I'm not 100% on, we can talk about it. I can give you some general advice. I can get more detailed. There's a lot of opportunity here to really dig in, especially once the grant is complete, once we've done assigning that, because I will have all the time for these consultations. Now, I've mentioned a few times, if we can go to the next slide, the Digital Transformation Grant. This is hands down the most important thing I think most people are interested in, because it's money. So let's have a look at what is the Digital Transformation Grant 3.0. So this is a program that is focused on assisting small businesses with the adoption of new technology through training, advisory support, and a grant of $2,500. For brick and mortar small businesses may qualify, and the deadline is November 30th, or until the grant funds are exhausted. At the moment, we're looking at it being probably the 30th, but you never know what the next week will be like, because we could be getting a big rush of people. The grant is being administered by the Ontario BIA Association, or OBIA. I may refer to them a few times here. So if you're wondering who is giving out the money, it is this Business Improvement Area Association. They've been doing this for this is the third time they've done this now. And the big thing to know is that they are really wanting to learn where businesses are and where their strengths are. So that's why it is brick and mortar instead of online businesses. It is for the previous ones, it's been region specific, but Digital Main Street itself does not hand out the money. We just facilitate connecting you with OBIA so that they can hand you the money. So if once you have done the application, you will be connected with someone from OBIA who will then answer all the financial questions. Unfortunately, once it gets to that point, I can prompt things, but that's a little far ahead. So we're just gonna look at the next slide and see more about what are the requirements. So like I said, it must be a permanent brick and mortar small business, aka under 50 employees in Ontario. And I don't know if this one affects anyone. You also must be an Ontario resident. So I know that some people have businesses, but they may live like in Quebec or something, but have a business in Ontario. Our region doesn't have that, but it happens up in Ottawa a lot. So if you don't live in the province, you don't qualify, unfortunately. You must be paying a commercial property tax, either directly or through commercial rent. So you probably know if you are paying a commercial property tax, because it's going to be in your rent or it's going to be in your bills. If you are not sure though, feel free to give us an ask give the counties an email or check with your landlord, and they will be able to help there. Up until this run, so the previous two, the limitation was that you had to be in a downtown or town center area. That is gone. So any business that has a physical location in Ontario can qualify, as long as you meet the other criteria, which is great because it opens us up to a lot more opportunity, especially last year when we were running this. It was really heartbreaking to see people who were kind of close to downtown but didn't qualify because they weren't technically downtown. They now qualify, which is the best part. If you have already received the grant, you may not receive it again. So that is a big change, because the first and second one, there was the opportunity to apply again. This term, not possible. You cannot be a business supplying digital services to other businesses. So for example, I cannot apply because I provide social media assistance. If you're like a graphic designer, if you run websites, even if you have a brick and mortar, you don't need this money because you already know what to do. So this is helping people who need the help. The other thing is no franchises, no not-for-profits, and no charitable organizations. So even if it is a locally run franchise, so it's independently owned, but you're still benefiting from the brand name, it doesn't qualify. So yeah, that one is pretty set in stone, but if you have multiple locations, that is a difference to a franchise. But if anyone has that situation, we can get into that privately, but yeah. So I've talked a lot about what these things are. So let's have a look at how do we apply. So we're going to go to the next slide. How do we apply? First, I want to talk about the Digital Service Squad. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is create an account on digitalmainstreet.ca and complete the digital assessment. This is usually the first step for the grant, but I still recommend it for everyone because you don't know what you don't know. There's a really comprehensive digital assessment that will say, oh, this is actually a strength of yours, or, oh, you don't have this, you should work on this. It will give you a really good idea of where your business strengths and weaknesses are. Once you've done that and you have an idea of like, okay, I want to work on Facebook, I need a website, I need some help setting up my Instagram, contact either myself or Jim, and we will give you details on your business and what you'd like to work on. So it's really difficult if someone emails us and says, hi, I need help with everything, or I don't understand this, period, because that is a lot to go through. So if you have an idea of what you are, what you'd like to learn, it makes things a lot easier for us to be like, okay, let's schedule a time. Let's find out how we can do this. Let's get you set up and get some help. And maybe we can help, get you set up on Shop Here, or direct you to a grant. Once you've contacted us, we will schedule a time to meet. Given that it's still pretty COVID-y out there, Zoom is preferred. I am available on the phone, but once the grant is complete, in person will be possible if scheduled strategically. So we can go over the requested topics that way. So that's a really good idea if you are running, say, I've had a previous client where they were having trouble with their website. And it's very hard for me to walk someone through the back end of a website if I can't see it and be like, okay, pointing this and this. So I am happy to come in person if it's just not if Zoom is just not working, but we do have to work on it. Like we can do it. It's just going to be a bit of a wait. Now, the other one we're going to talk about, of course, how do we apply for the grant? So let's have a look at the next slide. So you're going to create an account or log in at the Digital Main Street site, and I've put the specific link here. The first thing you need to do is, once again, do the digital assessment for your business so that you can get a better idea of the business's strengths and weaknesses. So once again, we don't know what we don't know. You may go into this saying, I want $2,500 so that I can spend it all on Facebook ads. I want $2,500 in Facebook ads. You may not realize, though, that you really should have a website, and they're going to it's going to say you really need more of a web presence. You probably should take advantage of Shop Here or get a website built, or it'll tell you where your money, it gives you an idea of where your money can go. The next step, and this is so important, you have to complete the required training course. We have a handful of people in our system right now who started the application, got to the training, and we haven't seen them again. And you don't get to apply until this training program is done. So the course is about 2.5 hours long, but it does not need to be completed in one sitting. So if you had a lot of time available, I'd be saying, you can do a chapter during your break or in the evening, take it on. However, we are in a situation where we have a week and 2 days left, or something like that, a week and 3 days. We don't want to wait any longer. I've been telling people in this situation, if you can finish the training by the end of this weekend, we can really get that application going on. I'll be more than happy to help out Monday we just really work through that application, get it submitted, and hopefully we get an answer by the end of that week, because it is a pretty quick turnover. And then once you're done the training, this is also the other part. This is where I can really help here, is we have to create a budget for the grant and then submit the official application. So the first account creation is not your application, it's just your assessment. So this is one where we're going to talk about what do you identify as your strengths and weaknesses? What do you identify as your growth points? What would you like to work on? Because the digital assessment is going to tell you a lot of things that you're like, this isn't important to me. And you don't have to focus on the ones that just, you're like, I'm not going to do this. So you pick 2 or 3 where you're like, yes, this is, I agree with this. This is what I want to work on. And you focus in on those. One thing I forgot to mention on the slideshow is that there is a limit on the budget for hardware. So I'd like to just really quickly point that out. So if you are looking at this and you're saying, I need a new computer, I need this, I need that, I need a camera, I need a point of sale, you are limited to $1,000. And the other $1,500 has to go towards something like services, advertising, or something a bit more digital, hiring someone to help, those types of things. So I am more than happy to go over any of the details regarding that, but that is the end of my really quick presentation. So let's close that for a moment. And so how are we feeling? Like I'm really hoping that we can turn off the microphone, the muting here, and just have a chat right now, because there is a lot to go over with this grant. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear them. So we can either just speak up or use the raise your hand option, or we can use chat. Okay, awesome. Oh,
okay.
Gordon.
Yes.
Hi, Gordon.
I just turned on the thing. I was trying to see am I the only one on tonight, or I don't want to hog all the time, but I probably
you are not going to hog all the time. let me tell you more. You are the hero here, because you're opening it up. People will get more comfortable. That's awesome. So so what is your question? How can we help?
Well, without sort of getting into a 1 hour sort of response here, I've seen your program advertised. I actually live in Elizabethtown. I'm on economic development with Elizabethtown. But okay. I have a good friend who's located down in Gananoque.
Yes.
She is a jewelry maker on there. She makes her own jewelry. She's very, very good at it. Of course, with the pandemic and everything has come to a bit of a halt. Yes. Trying to see what we need to do to get her online for selling her jewelry online. I think it's a perfect vehicle for this. Yes. My business is not connected any way whatsoever because I'm in environmental analysis. But anyways, I do my own websites. I've done websites for other people. I'm not a professional. I use the Wix tools for doing my websites on there. So I've got a lot of capability of doing things. I just don't know where to start with all of this. You know, she's talked about Shopify and whatnot, but I'd like to go to first base before I go to second base.
Definitely. Like,
so that's why I guess my big question is, where does one start? And if I like the grant, but if we're limited to November the 30th, boy, we really have to hustle here.
Yeah, but the nice thing is with the grant, like I said, the training program is 2.5 hours. It's, you know, an evening of listening in carefully. And then from there we can fly through the budget, because I like I said, I'm happy to jump on a Zoom call. I'm happy to jump in a call, answer emails. And I can give you a really good idea of where the pricing would be. And all you need to do is say, okay, I want to put this much here, here's my strengths and weaknesses, submit. So the hardest part is finishing that training process. So if you can get that done, we can fly. We've still got time. Like, I wouldn't be here today telling all of you people that there's a $2,500 grant if I thought it was impossible to apply. We've actually really been reaching out to people again saying, you know, if this is possible, this is not the hardest grant you've ever seen in your life. You'll benefit from the train. I've done the training last year. And as someone who has gone to school for social media and who has been studying this since pretty much they were in high school, which is a long time ago now, I found it really helpful. I found it really educational in just the way that they approach things. And so I highly recommend, even if you don't qualify for the grant and you're just like, I just don't know where to start with the training course on digitalmainstreet.ca. It is fantastic and it's free. So, and that's the big thing. With your friend who has the jewelry store. First question, do they have a physical location?
Yes and no. By that I mean, she's been working out of her family has a hardware store in downtown Gananoque. She has all of her displays in the hardware store, but her father is now 97 years old. So he's sort of involved and not involved. So yes, that's what I mean by yes and no. Yes, she's operating out of there, but it's not the main part of the business. It could be, but it's a bit of a mix.
That's an interesting one because I would want to reach out to, what I would recommend, because it's Gananoque, it falls under a different person. I think Jim knows the exact name of the contact, but they can get them in contact with the Digital Main Street representative there, and they can follow up with Obia and say, hey, this is the situation. Is it worth doing the application? And we have this chat program. We're using Slack to communicate between all of us in the province. And it's usually pretty quick to get a response from the grant facilitators. They are more than happy to give us the information we need. So in that case, I would say first, find your Digital Main Street person, reach out to them and say, this is my situation, let's get started. But
maybe with,
go ahead, Jim.
Rebecca, sorry to interrupt, Rebecca. Maybe with that, Gordon, if you could put your email in the chat, or we may have it here from your registration, I suppose.
Yes.
We'll send you the name of, it's McKenna Modler is the squad member for Gananoque Thousand Islands. And another proviso might be the commercial property taxes that, in your case, that Rebecca mentioned. So it'd be a good idea to touch base with McKenna. And I will take note of your name here, and I'm sure we have your email, and I will give you her coordinates.
Sure. If you don't have that through Elizabethtown, of course, I'm on the economic development. I'm actually chairing the committee there, so they know very well who I am and what I'm doing.
Okay, sounds very good.
Contact information. You can talk to Allison down there.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Well, thanks a lot, Graham. Thanks very much, Gordon. Appreciate it.
No, I'm anxious to sort of get this going, and especially with the deadline in there. We've been going to do this for a long, long time, but I think as sitting in on the summit today, I figured, hey, here's my opportunity. I'm going to ask the questions.
Yeah.
And we're ready to go.
I would recommend, like what I would say, this weekend, with or without the grant, even if it turns out you don't qualify, I still recommend doing that training over the weekend, because first off, if it turns out that you do qualify, then it's done and you can just get it going. If you don't qualify, you've still done 2.5 hours of really good training on social media and had an assessment. So you're like, I know where I stand and here's where I have to go from here. It's a really good starting point. And then you would talk to McKenna and they would get you in contact with, let's set you up with like one-on-one consulting and shop here and situations like that. Because the shop here program would probably be a huge benefit as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the shop here might be the program to go with.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks, Jim. If you could forward me that information or pass my name along to the appropriate people, they have my name, phone number, and everything, and we can start from there. But that was my question today, is where do I start? And I think you've answered that. So I would say the day has been a success already.
Well, that's
Yay!
good. I'm surprised, Rebecca, that we have David Weibu on here from the County of Renfrew. He hasn't asked a question. So I know David quite well, and I've just been waiting for that question from him.
Well, the camera's on, so maybe it's coming.
You were very good, Rebecca. You answered my question before I could ask it. And as an ECDev officer and not applying for the grant, I was curious if I could take that course myself. And yes, I can. I actually have been on the Digital Main Street a few times. I actually have a sister in Toronto that has worked through the program and was very happy with it, putting her business online, getting some online sales going during COVID-19. It's a great resource. I would have liked to have seen more people here on it. We've had a number of successful people in the area, but there certainly could be a lot more.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I know that going online for many people, especially in our area, which is a bit, a little older, a little more intimidated by the computers, it's not the easiest. And I totally accept that if someone were to turn to me and say, for example, saying to me, Rebecca, you need to be on TikTok to make your business work, I'd be like, no, because that's a generation below me again. But so I completely understand if like the generation above me is just like, oh, I don't know, social media seems a lot of work and that's a lot really hard. And I get it. I totally get that this is a scary situation for some people. So my goal really is just to encourage people to at least try the training program and see how you feel after that. I came out of it, like I said, I came out of it being like, wow, that was really good. If I came into it knowing nothing, I would have felt really confident about where I need to focus. And there's case studies and like interviews, and they keep improving on it each year too. So yeah, your question was, can I do the course? Yes, you may. Please do.
Now I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Yay.
Well, it'll help me in advising in future other people looking to take these steps. So
yeah,
can't go wrong.
And there's multiple courses on there. One is required for the grant, but there are other resources that other training courses that you can use as well. They are all free so long as you make an account. So I highly recommend them. It's a great starting point to see where you are and where you can go, because a lot of people don't realize, for example, the Shop Here program, that is a Shopify website set up by a Shopify consultant. And they build it, they put everything on it for you. They give you a few months of it for free. And then they just say, okay, all you have to do now is just pay the monthly fees out in a few months. As someone who has helped many people set up their own websites, that is not cheap. The $2,500 grant would completely wipe out if you had this done, if you just hired someone to do the website. That would be your grant. So the fact that we have a program where we can say, actually, let's get you on Shopify, let's get someone to design it for you, and you can keep the $2,500 to work on advertising and hiring a consultant and buying the tech that you need. You could almost double the amount that you're getting in value just by taking advantage of Shop Here as well. It's huge.
And just to David, we've helped over 1,000 businesses here in Leeds, Grenville. This is our second go around with it. And it happened in Merrickville too. Digital Transformation Grant 1 or DSS 1, then DSS 2, and now we're in DSS 3. So well over 1,000 businesses in Leeds and Grenville have been assisted with the grant, with digital service squad advice from people like Rebecca, and it's been very successful here. Mm-hmm. I do see it up in Renfrew County a little bit. I see it in Laurentian Valley, has a DSS squad member. So
Yeah, Laurentian Valley did it, and they coordinated on some stuff with Pembroke and Petawawa as well. But it didn't get, we talked about it internally, but it was felt more toward the municipalities. I kind of think we missed something on it, actually. Those businesses that did make that digital transformation, for the most part, they're doing well. I mean, as you said earlier in your speech or your talk, Rebecca, these transformations were happening already, but this just accelerated it. And people really realized that when you do have something like COVID hit, you have to have these other means of reaching out to people and selling your goods. So it's pretty critical. And like I said, we've got some people that have done really, really well. I talked to some businesses, how are you doing? How hard have you been hit? And they're telling me they've never had better years. But that's because they transformed.
Exactly. There's a lot of businesses who went, you know what? I'm going to take this online and realize, and this is the big part. We live in Leeds and Grenville, which is, it is a big area, but it's a limited number in people. And at the end of the day, you're only reaching so many people. The second you get online, you are reaching the entire English speaking community online. Like 7 billion people or something, like billions of people who have the ability to reach online. And as long as you are offering a decent shipping option and you're learning like how to get in touch with them, that's a lot more than the less than 1 million people who live in our region. So it's a really good opportunity. Online is so good.
Rebecca, I see our time's getting tight, so I'll boot us back out. I just wanted to thank you for putting on this session today. It was very interesting, and I hope those that did attend it enjoyed it. And Gordon, I will get that information to you. And thanks for attending the session, and good to see you again.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. So I want to make sure that you guys please return to the main webcast video link for the final closing remarks and to find out the announcement for next year's date. So there is a little bit going on afterwards. Please return to the main window and don't just leave.
So you guys are really good. I just got an email about when the next one is happening. So
yeah, you can learn from us, Dave.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thanks, everyone.